Welcome to Bills Camp tonight. I'm Brown along with Prescott Rossi. We will not stop. There are no breaks. Well, we will stop, but we'll only stop when we are totally fresh out of Bills Camp information. Prescott.
Yes.
One practice now left before we are done with St. John Fisher for this year. And I think the theme, early at least, has been injuries on the offensive line.
Yeah, injuries in the offensive line and the struggles of the offense probably as a result of those struggles to keep the offensive line healthy. And we saw that again, as even though in a practice that was closed to the public, there was no shortage of news.
We'll start with the big news, and not necessarily for a big-name player, but it is the first season-long information. Adrian Waddle, the offensive tackle, out for the season, according to ESPN's Adam Schefter, tore his quad in practice yesterday. Now, Trey White, considered an elite lockdown corner in these parts, but you won't find his name on many national top tens. One issue White's working on: penalties. Last year he drew 9 flags in pass coverage. Only 4 guys had more league-wide. White tends to be a bit of a grabby corner, but it's not a problem. In fact, it's just the opposite.
If you watch the greats, the ones that, you know, pretty much has been doing it for a long time and has been doing it at a high level, they sort of get away with those things, and they learn from over just trial and error of just certain stuff they can get away with. And I'm kind of in the middle of that right now, trying to transition into that, trying to see what I can get away with. I think I'm doing a good job of just trying to, you know what I mean, when the refs was out here for the last few days, did a good job of asking those guys questions.
It's getting to that point in the preseason where teams are getting a bit stir-crazy, maybe even a bit silly, and the Bills are no different. It did allow us, though, as Prescott Rossi discovered, to find out which of the Bills have the best wiggle.
It's the dance scene round the world. Members of the Bills' defensive line doing the electric slide before practice.
Cherish this moment, man. Cherish this moment, man. I'm just so happy to be out here. You know, thank God, man.
It's no surprise that a team full of the best athletes on earth can dance, but seeing people 250 pounds and up get down is definitely unique.
It's coming out of my shell a little bit. Good team bonding, right?
I can dance only doing football. Like, if I'm off the field trying to dance, I can't dance for real. But when I'm on the field, I got a little jig to myself.
Ask any football player. Training camp is a grind. Weeks in the summer sun, hitting and getting hit by the same players would wear on anybody. What's wrong with a little dancing to break up the routine?
We dance like that a lot. I just don't think that the cameras are ever on. So, you know, probably in our indoor practice in a couple days, somebody will be doing something like that again.
So it begs the question, who has the best moves?
I do. I think I got the best dance moves on the team.
I'm definitely going with Trey White, Eddie, and those my guys.
SHAQ got some soul to him. I mean, he pretty much he got some rhythm, and that's something that you don't pretty much see from a big guy. It's pretty much more impressive to see it from a big guy than a guy of my stature.
Harrison Phillips, what about your moves? You were hanging out in the back.
I mean, it kind of goes to say with what position I play, right? Nose guard. I describe my position as the fire hydrant at the dog show. I just. I mean, you can just kind of fill in the blank from there, but do gap integrity, do my job, and the other guys can get the flashy plays.
That's one way to describe it. Whatever gets you on the good foot.
Now, tens of thousands of people have seen the tweet that the Bills put out of the defensive lineman dancing. I think it got on some national shows as well. Sean McDermott saw the clip. He was impressed with the moves, but I think he called out SHAQ LAWSON and said, listen, he's a heck of a defensive end. I don't know so much about his dance moves.
Well, Sean McDermott's not the kind of guy that's going to be wowed by a video like that. He's going to totally even keel it and try and come up with some slide dry response.
Yeah, let's see Sean break down, you know. Let's see him out there.
Now, that's a video that would get thousands of views.
Yes, indeed.
All right, time to talk about the player that is always on every Bills fan's mind. It is the quarterback, of course. We are now just joshing. Here are Josh Allen's stats from today's practice. Not superb today, not terrible, though. Allen was 11 of 19 today. He had 89 yards passing. Look, still some trouble with the inaccuracy today. 11 of 19 doesn't seem so bad completion percentage-wise, but just wasn't good. Some of the completions looked difficult, and that was the thing maybe that bothered me most. Did have a couple of nice touchdown throws. The Bills were in red zone quite a bit today. One was on a seam to John Brown. Another on a scramble. He dropped it just over Trey White in the corner to Andre Roberts. There were some highs. There were some scattershot lows. By the way, one thing about that touchdown pass to Roberts, after practice, Brian Dable came over to Trey White, and Trey White was giving him the business a little bit, and Dable said, what were you doing on that one play? When you're standing here, the ball goes over your head for a touchdown. So the guys are still in good spirits on the side.
Yeah, and hey, they're also still competing really hard because Trey White, after that touchdown, then kicked the pylon at the back of the end zone. So I can't imagine that Trey White was all too thrilled that he got burned during that 11-on-11 drill. You know, and as when it comes to Josh Allen, I thought, you know, the problems we have are still there, and I just can't shake him at this point. And now it's looking like a full week of mediocre to poor practices from Allen. I think everybody on the Bills would agree that they just can't wait for this first preseason game, but those questions are there, and you know, he's not going to see a ton of time on the field on Thursday night, but he's going to have to answer them, and so will the rest of that Bills offense.
I joked with someone on Twitter about this today. Whenever you and I talk either with each other or other media, we always, in the middle of the conversation, say, well, it's just the first week of August.
Yeah.
It's just training camp.
Yeah.
And all that's still true. You know, we're talking about practice. Exactly. But the last week, like you said, we're going, today is Monday, Sunday, last week Friday, Thursday. I mean, that's how far back we're going before you find a practice that you really feel good about with Josh Allen.
Yeah, and so Thursday night, let's see what Josh can do. Now, after practice today, Sean McDermott made the entire Bills team run sprints. The second straight day he's done that. Sean McDermott was asked about it this morning. Was that a punishment for a bad practice? He said, no. Just conditioning. Now, a couple members of the Bills did verify it was just getting some cardio in. You know, there's nothing about it, but it does kind of, you know, raise some questions about, you know, seeing all these athletes, these fine-tuned machines running wind sprints after a long practice in the summer heat. Sean McDermott answered that. He answered so much more. Here's today's edition of Coach Speak.
We've got to continue to move forward and find a way to, you know, manage the reps. That's probably the biggest thing is going into the game is how we kind of allocate reps and throughout the numbers there with the 2s and 3s. But hey, we'll find a way. He's unfazed by some of that. You know, I'm sure he's aware of it, and so. But he's a mentally tough guy that competes, and he's focused on himself, growing each and every day, each and every rep. And that's what he needs to be doing right now. He didn't like everything that went on in practice, but that's good. That's the growth mindset we talk about, and none of us are finished products. We have to continue to develop, continue to evolve, and there was some good in there. But at the end of the day, this is the time of year we can look at that and see what he looks like out there. He's been on good teams before and played in big games, and that brings a lot to the table for us. And so really appreciative of what he does and his steadiness throughout the course of camp to this point.
Now it's time to talk about the best thing and the worst thing that we saw at practice today. It's our high and our low. I won the rock, paper, scissors game backstage, so I get to go first. My high today is Cole Beasley for a very high reason. The Bills today worked towards the end of practice on some situational drills. They do this a lot. Today's drill was the end of the game. We desperately need a touchdown drill. So they did the 15 lateral play and the Hail Mary play. Hail Mary is usually practiced as a tip drill. Cole Beasley, all 5'8" of him, is the guy apparently who is going to be required to try and go up and deflect the ball so another tall guy can make the catch. And look, it sounds funny. Cole Beasley can dunk at 5'8" easily. So I love the fact that the Bills realize they have a little secret weapon in Beasley as a guy who can get up on that Hail Mary play, and is a good choice. It's just funny that he's the good choice.
Yeah, and Cole Beasley, you know, we do kind of make fun of him for his height, and other members of the Bills make fun of him for his height. LaShawn McCoy has been ruthless throughout training camp. Well, Cole Beasley told him, hey, man, I could dunk. And LaShawn was like, when did you start dunking? He's like, middle school. Yeah. And if there is video out there, if you know a video of Cole Beasley in middle school dunking a basketball, please send it our way. Yes, we will put that on television. Now, my high for the day on the other side of the ball, and it's a guy we've talked about a little bit today, SHAQ LAWSON. I just think he's had a strong camp. He's not going to beat out Murphy. He's not going to beat out Jerry Hughes for one of those starting defensive end jobs, but if he can be a valuable piece in that defensive line, and we know that Sean McDermott likes to rotate guys in and out to be a dependable guy. We know he has that energy. We know he has that enthusiasm. Lord knows he's the loudest guy on the football field. He's always shouting and screaming or singing along to music. But I just think he's even said it himself. He's coming to camp refocused. He spent a lot of time with Trent Murphy in the offseason, going out to Arizona, climbing mountains. I just see a new SHAQ LAWSON. It's training camp, we know, but I think LAWSON, my high today because he had another strong day today, and I think he's been stacking up strong days the last couple of weeks. And impressive because you think about 12 months ago, this was a guy that was on the roster bubble to stay in the team, and now he's a pretty solid member of this roster.
My low today is running back Marcus Murphy. Not necessarily for today. He did have a bad drop early in practice, which really caught my eye. But you think about it again, let's go back 12 months. Yeah. Marcus Murphy was one of the camp all-stars. You know, a guy who made this roster, impressed in the preseason, and really this year he's been invisible. I mean, you barely remember he's on the field. Some of that is the fact the Bills added 3 running backs. You know, Frank Gore, T.J. Yeldon, and Devin Singletary getting a lot of the reps in camp. But Murphy seemed like a guy who had promise last year, and this year he's almost nowhere. Yeah, he wears 22, which you think of Fred Jackson wearing that number. And Marcus Murphy has a story pretty similar to Fred Jackson. Maybe not, didn't play in NFL Europe, but a guy that, you know, relative obscurity comes in and impresses. And yeah, it's been a rough go for Marcus Murphy over these first couple weeks. For me, my low, another member of the offense, it's going to be backup left guard. That's right, we found the backup left guard, Ike BOETTGER. You watch all of practice. Yes. He was my low today. During that red zone 11-on-11 drill, Jordan Phillips just, I don't know, it looked like BOETTGER wasn't even prepared because Jordan Phillips put BOETTGER on his butt, and everyone's laughing, and you don't want to be that guy that everyone's laughing at training camp. Then a few minutes later, hey, it's hot out there, we know. I think it was Vashawn Joseph. It might have been another member of the second or third team. Threw Christian Wade down. Dean Marlowe. Oh, okay, Dean Marlowe. Okay, that threw down Christian Wade a little bit late in the drill, in the snap, and BOETTGER runs over and starts shoving Dean Marlowe, and you know, and then it leads to everybody coming together, and it was just much ado about nothing. And you're kind of like, come on, Ike, come on. It's what day of training camp? It's hot out here. Just get back to the line. Let's just do the next play. Yeah, okay, maybe Dean Marlowe went a little bit past, you know, the line, but it's training camp. These things happen. So, Ike BOETTGER, come on, get it together. My low for the day. Dean Marlowe has been involved in more than one scrap in this camp. He is not high on the list of Christmas presents for the offense. Yes, he is a stirrer, as we would call the department. A thing stirrer, that's for sure. All right, David Sills, you know, one of the more popular undrafted guys on this team, hasn't always been a wide receiver, but he has been on the path to football greatness a lot longer than most guys. And as Kendra Sheehan explains, David Sills is taking an unorthodox route to being one of the desired undrafted free agents on the Bills.
David Sills received his first scholarship to play college football at age 13. It was from USC.
It made me kind of mature a little bit earlier. You know, but I think that made me ready for the situation that I'm in now.
An undrafted NFL rookie, relatively new to his position.
Just trying to pick up different things from everyone.
Sills switched from quarterback to wide receiver just 2 years ago when he was a junior at West Virginia. He says his ability to switch positions is one of his biggest assets.
Being a former quarterback, you know, knowing multiple positions and being able to interchange my position, you know, whenever the offense needs me to.
While Sills acknowledges he still has a lot to learn, he says the veterans on the team have helped guide him along.
You know, in the receiver room, I really talked to Zay Jones a lot. You know, I know he's going on his 3rd year, but you know, he's a bigger guy that I can you know, learn a lot from. But really, all of them have been great.
His fan club outside the locker room has also made an impact.
My family's always had my back 100%. You know, you have to compete and have to produce to play in the NFL and stay in the NFL. So having a support system like my family has been great.
Sills hopes to turn the promise of a 13-year-old prodigy into an NFL career. With the Bills report at St. John Fisher, I'm Kendra Sheehan.
Thank you, Kendra. You know, back in the day, Prescott and I did a podcast called Down and Drought. Yeah, I know. I've mentioned that which shall not be named. But one of the guests we had on during that podcast that we liked a lot, Matthew FAIRBURN, who now works for The Athletic in Buffalo. We stopped him for a couple minutes today to get his takes on the Bills, Josh Allen, and things as they move forward. Here's today's edition of Another Voice.
We have stopped Matthew FAIRBURN from The Athletic for a few good minutes. And Matthew, you've been at camp every day this year. Just Josh Allen's progression going into year 2. What have you seen so far from camp that has encouraged you? And perhaps are there things that maybe you thought are bigger question marks moving forward?
Yeah, you know, he started off camp pretty hot, I thought. And, you know, you can see a quarterback who's a bit more comfortable in the pocket, a little bit more in command of the offense, and really testing all areas of the field a bit more than we saw last year. The offense seems to have hit a snag in the last few days. I don't know if it's you know, just getting worn down towards the end of their time at St. John Fisher College and getting ready to, you know, hit somebody else and play, you know, a real or a semi-real game against the Colts on Thursday. But, you know, the offensive line injuries haven't helped, and, you know, there's still some accuracy issues there, decision-making issues where he's trying to, you know, get all the yards at once instead of taking the easy throws. And so it's just a consistency issue at this point, and he's got a lot of time to iron things out before the games start to count, so that's the positive.
Yeah, with that first preseason game looming just a couple days away, what is the biggest thing from the offense you want to see emerge? I know it's a preseason game, but maybe to have some of those question marks maybe answered.
You know, I think the #1 thing might be the running game, because there was no running game last year, and I think that could help Josh Allen in a lot of ways. If you know, they're able to keep the offense on schedule and put him in more manageable situations, maybe he won't feel like he has to make those big plays all the time, and you won't see some of those same mistakes. But, you know, obviously people have the microscope on Josh Allen. He's not going to have enough time in the game to really get a good sample size. He won't be able to get into a rhythm, but you'd like to see some of those big plays that have popped up, and you'd like to see him doing a better job of just keeping the offense on schedule, not having one big play here and then, you know, 3 straight drives of 3 and outs like we saw at times last year. So it's little things, it's subtle, but there's stuff you can learn from the preseason.
On the other side of the ball, Ed Oliver, he's been a monster through the first couple weeks of training camp. Just from your time as a, you know, quote-unquote scout looking at, you know, draft prospects, what about him has just been so encouraging for you through these first few weeks?
Yeah, he's, you know, everybody knows about his quickness because he's an undersized guy. He's not too big, but the punch that he packs with his power is something to watch. I mean, he has been tossing guys around in one-on-one drills. He's handling double teams with ease, and I think what strikes me about him that I didn't really know going in is just how, you know, self-aware he is, and how smart of a football player he is. The guy has played 3 technique defensive tackle before, so the transition hasn't been too much for him, but it's the strength and the power that he plays with that is surprising, because, you know, making the jump from, you know, Houston to this level is quite a jump, but it has looked easy for him.
A lot of people follow you on social media, but if they don't, where would they find Mr. Matthew Fairburn and, of course, your terrific work at The Athletic?
Yeah, you can find me at Matthew Fairburn and read all of our work at theathletic.com/Buffalo.
Of course, there's also the Bills Beat podcast, highly recommended. Matthew Fairburn from The Athletic, thank you so much, sir, for your time. Always great to check in with Matthew Fairburn. Now, coming up tomorrow, the final workout at St. John Fisher this year. Public is welcome, 9:45 a.m. start. Then Thursday, the preseason opener. Bills, Colts, New Era Field, Orchard Park. 7 o'clock start. Then starting Friday, nearly 5 straight months of practicing at the Bills facility in Orchard Park.
Forecast tomorrow is hot and humid. Let me tell you, it seems like the Bills are going to get out of Dodge just in time. The weather for this camp has been as good as I can ever remember, all 20 years that the Bills have been here at St. John Fisher. Tomorrow, though, it looks like it's going to storm about noontime, so practice done's about 11:30, and I bet they end a little early.
Yeah.
Last practice of camp.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think the Bills are just going to barely avoid the bad weather, not only tomorrow, but really all of camp.
Yeah, tough break for the Mayfair guys, having to load up those trucks in the rain, but maybe they get lucky and avoid it.
They're going to get wet. They're going to get wet, let me tell you. All right, that'll wrap up Bills camp tonight. We got one more of these tomorrow. Remember, 6:45 on a website near you, also on the News 8 in Rochester Facebook page. For Prescott Rossi, I'm Thad Brown. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.